Sheriff Clarke, thanks for joining me. You recently wrote a piece for The Hill on these sanctuary cities that have boldly told President-elect Donald Trump that they're going to protect these illegal immigrants, even ones who have committed additional crimes once in this country, with or without his okay.
Well, Charles, we can't let crocodile tears that I just heard of out of Geraldo, my friend Geraldo. We can't let that drive policy. Look, it's not my job to create or establish immigration policy. That's going to be the Congress, and then the president gets to decide, President-elect Trump, how he's going to carry out what the Congress passes. But look, we're at a crossroads, all right? If we're going to be a sovereign nation, then we have to have borders. We have to enforce that border. Geraldo was wrong as well when he said we're a nation of immigrants. No, we're not. We're a nation of laws. We're a nation of legal immigrants. When he talked about the Italian wave and the German wave that came over, they did it legally. They did not cross the border illegally. We have to have a zero tolerance for crossing the border illegally and coming in and setting up residence. These sanctuary cities, these mayors cannot drive immigration policy. These sanctuary cities are havens for criminal activity, and here's why. A criminal goes out, identifies someone who he knows is not supposed to be in this country, and he commits a crime and victimizes them because he knows they are not going to call the police for fear of being identified as being in the country illegally. And we're talking about some very serious crimes. Right. We have illegal victims who are being raped, robbed. We have child abuse, domestic abuse. So we have a lot of under and unreported violent crime in the United States because of it. So, you know, I trust Donald Trump. I like Donald Trump. I supported him. I fought for him to become the president. I believe when he says we'll work something out, but the rule of law must prevail. But that's going to be up to the president-elect to enforce the law, and not David Clarke. But I'll tell you what, we have statutes on the books right now, 8 U.S.C. 1324, that provides criminal sanctions for people who knowingly harbor and provide safe havens for people in the country illegally. That would be a sanctuary city. Sure. Also, federal funding can be looked at. So there are ways to get the cities to comply with the federal government's right to enforce our immigration laws.
And quickly, let me just ask you, we have news now that police officer Nicholas Marr, one of 2 officers shot today in the line of duty, has died from his wounds. Another, Jody Smith, is in severe condition. Severely wounded at this moment. You've discussed this, the war against the police officers. How much of that do you blame this current administration for, and how confident are you that this is going to change dramatically once Donald Trump takes office?
I blame the current administration for a lot of the anti-police rhetoric that has contributed, I didn't say cause, contributed to this hatred about the police. But we now have a president coming in who's a friend of law enforcement, and he appointed or nominated an attorney general who gets it, who's going to be a friend of local law enforcement, and they're going to get rid of this anti-police sentiment and rhetoric, this hatred toward cops that does contribute to many of these things. So it's going to be a long road back, but we're going to have a different narrative as it relates to the American police officer.
Sheriff Clarke, as usual, I salute you for all that you do for the country, and I appreciate you coming on tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Charles.